Okay, I started at songs, stuff. Can't even drink this coffee while laughing at this song. Don't listen to it yet, though. That. Boys and girls, children of all ages, we're here for tonight. Weebs of the Ring for our holiday Raw episode, our fucking tape show. We're here for the Stampede of covering tonight's Monday Night Raw on September. I'm way over 4 months out. December 23rd, a day before Christmas. Happy holidays for those celebrating and spend time with family. You are getting your holiday special episode like we are here for tonight, discussing the headline story. Drew McIntyre speaks but gets interrupted once again from Sami Zayn. But then we get a defense, the return of Jey Uso. Yeet. But then we get this fight of the main event of a Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. We thought we were getting a 20-minute fight. No, we get a 10-minute or 15-minute commercial break and then a 5-minute or 10-minute fight. That's what it felt was. But then for the mid-card stories, we got Seth Rollins sit-down interview that felt so underwhelming. The Judgment Day run Raw, but then we find that Finn and Liv are not seeing eye to eye, and Damian tries to fight Dom in a one-on-one match, but then is a DQ. Chaos happens once again. But then the women's IC title. Did you guys miss Pure Fusion Collective? Guess what? Nobody did, because we're here discussing about Sonya Deville trying to talk into Adam Pearce backstage. Wants an IC opportunity, but nobody blink an eye. So we're gonna talk about that. Did anybody care or not? But the Io Sky did get in her opportunity and she got her leg back. And the last two things for us to talk about is Akira Tozawa versus Chad Gable. And then we have Miz versus Dexter Lumis in a DQ that just felt like a rehash of stories that could have been spread more. But then the New Day continued to be shunned by everyone, and Kofi's mom, she said, "Hey, you're my son, but I'm disappointed in you." Other than that, that is for the Stampede, and this will be our conversation for tonight. So without further ado, let's start the show.
With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling, so allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds out there. So, grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through the experience unlike any other. Brought to you by Animal East Studio, this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Welcome, salutations, bienvenue, all that wonderful goodness happening tonight, guys and girls. Hopefully, you guys are having a lovely, lovely day, lovely evening, whether you celebrate a holiday or not. Just, I hope you're having a good day regardless. But I am your world champion here, even though I'm wearing my newly won Intercontinental title, so I'm planning on holding this for more than 666 days. But yes, that is right. I am your world champion Watkins here to give you the lowdown, rundown, beatdowns that happened on Monday Night Raw. And I am never alone in my endeavor, for you see, I have two lovely gentlemen joining me tonight. As always, to my right shoulder is the legend himself, the visionary, Vash. Vash, how you doing tonight?
It's good to be back. It's good to be talking about Monday Night Raw. Wish we could talk about a better show that was more better story driven and not felt laid back, but is your visionary legend event that will be talking more on tonight's show more than our boy Seth Rollins did in his own interview. So we'll be having more of a conversation of what could have been said that was never said.
Yeah, hopefully we can add just a little bit more substance than what we got tonight with a lot of things. Ah man, but as always too, to help us get the logic of what's going on, we have the genius of the mat himself drop this box. Drop, how you doing tonight? Hmm. Awesome. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
will say
exactly.
also, congratulations to Maxine Dupree. She also got engaged this past weekend, for
Oh,
holiday
neat.
season. So congrats to her.
Neat. She gets to get yelled at by Chad Gable again to celebrate. That's awesome on TV. Oh man, but yeah, I mean, a lot like what Drop just said. I mean, much like Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins right now, we're gonna be telling the truth here. We're gonna be telling at least our truths going on, and just starting off too. I mean, our big headline story, part of our main event tonight, was Drew McIntyre taking on Sami Zayn. But there's a little bit more to all this, and probably where most of the substance of tonight was this whole stuff with Drew McIntyre and the Bloodline. So he starts off the night by, just saying his stuff, just trying to tell his piece and all that. And again, Drew is very justified in how he feels. He basically he doesn't see himself as the villain. It's Roman and Punk. And I don't know how much I would agree with the Punk part of it. Like I get, oh, there's negative feelings towards him being back, but especially with Roman. But I mean, if you've been listening to us for the past few weeks, or at least me on this show, you know that I like Roman is not a hero. He is not the face. Like as much as we want to cheer him and all that stuff, he's not a face. He hasn't changed at all. He is still the same Roman Reigns as before. And Drew, he's just trying to go off. He's trying to tell his piece, saying, "Look, I've sacrificed so much for this business, and then people keep turning their backs on me and all that." So I kind of want to start with that. Just how did y'all feel about Drew's statements going on? Like, do you believe him? Do you feel like you sympathize or empathize with him? Vash, how do you feel about all this?
When it comes to Drew's statement, I love how when it comes to today's storyline, the one thing I appreciate more with Triple H in when it comes to storyline to characters and Drew, they are being justified for being the villain. That they're not feel like, oh, he's a bad guy just to be a bad guy. No, he has a reason. He even said something that I felt emotional, that I felt like he was speaking from the chest. It sucks when the crowd was screaming CM Punk and OTC when he said that I was gone to see my family because of somebody passing and you guys forgot about me. That line felt something like, I felt like, not like a stab in the wound, but I felt what he was saying. Like it felt very emotional. It felt very driven. It felt like he was in pain. Like he really loves his business, but even when Sammy came out, he was talking about hey, we have chosen this entertainment world as our job. Our job is to put the balance of what Sammy said. Like you miss weddings, you miss birthdays, you miss all these events because of the career you chose. So it reminds me of how Edge or Daniel Bryan or any other wrestlers, when they speak from his heart and when they speak about why they have to retire earlier than they're supposed to because of these things, Drew, it, Drew isn't retired from what we're knowing, but from his actions and his emotions speaking to us, it felt it. Like I felt
Mm-hmm.
the anger and the way he's going against the bloodline, and even when he was mad seeing CM Punk, OTC Roman, hanging out together, it pissed anybody off. It pissed even Seth to be like, hey, I'm going to come back to work because I don't even like this shit either because he's pointing the ones and he's pointing to go to sleep. So you see these characters having more layers. So that's something I appreciate, that they're not feeling out of left field, but they're feeling in the right field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that because and I mean that's the thing. Like this all really just stems from Roman. Like the whole Punk
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, we've been there, done that with Drew and all that. I mean, he's always not gonna like Punk, and
Yeah.
it's kind of the same lines with Seth. But it's just I get it with Roman because if he gets back into power, he's just gonna be the same person again. So it's just why are you guys doing this? Especially in the same year that you all fought against him. That's why him and Seth, they don't feel so crazy. And you have Sammy coming out here basically trying to gaslight Drew into feeling bad and being like, "Oh, woe is you. Everyone else has issues and problems." It's just like, okay, that's fine, but we're not talking about everybody else right now. We're not talking about the other people. We're talking about me right now. We're talking about what's going on with this company, and we're talking about what you and Jay are doing. And that's why, Drew's not really obsessed with one person. It's the fact that he's obsessed about not having the one person that should not have power get power again. And I saw some tweets too about this. It's just like, oh, Drew's just being crybaby. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no, he is very justified in not wanting the bloodline to come back.
Oh hell yeah, he is justified. Like, imagine you in high school, like a high school study. Any and everyone has experienced high school. Imagine you taking down the big bully, out of the top of the food chain, then somehow he goes back to the bottom, still has power, but then slowly climbing up, and the people that help him to take him down are helping him to get back his power. Anybody will be pissed. I'm like, hold up, we had a whole 10 squad against one. Now we're trying to help this guy get back his power. Hell, and anybody should be mad. Drew, out of all people, where he said it for the past 4 years, this bloodline, this gang has literally been jumping him for years. So anybody will be tough, like, hey, I'm gonna go square up. I'm tired. I'm gonna literally get my lick back. And it makes sense. I support Drew. Do I support his actions? No. But I support his reasoning. Could his actions go better than attacking somebody from the back of his head? Yes. But I support it.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I'm not too, like, put off about this truce he has with Solo. Because, like, I mean, on one hand, yeah, it was Solo who cost him the title, back at Clash of the Castle years ago. But it's like, at the same time, Solo hasn't really, like, done anything to Drew, at least in recent memory, or, like, he wasn't the leader back then.
Yeah.
And, like, Solo's pretty much just left Drew alone this whole time. And so it's really just have to deal with Roman. But I want to hear your thoughts drop about all this, because, like, even though Sammy came out was gaslighting Drew, he did cut a really good promo too.
Oh, he
I don't
did.
want to take that away at all. But, like, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts now. And by the way, people, apologies if some of us sound a little dead inside. The holidays are here, so there's a lot of prep going on, from, like, cooking ham and, wearing our sweaters and all that stuff, to just dealing with family and all that. So, but yeah, that besides the point. Drop, let me hear you about all this.
So, like, I understand, like, everything that's going on with Drew, because it makes perfect sense why he's heading down this direction. I mean, just like everything that he had to do with Punk, he had reasoning behind it. Just like with Seth Rollins, there's reasoning behind it. With Kevin Owens, there's reasoning behind it. We all can get behind it because we understand how things led that way for them to react with that sort of mindset. So I like how Drew is going out there and he's telling people as it is, because there is a lot of people that are casual fans that are just going there to watch a wrestling show, which is perfectly fine. But when it comes to people like us and other people within the community that take time out of our nights to talk about professional wrestling because we love it, part of our job is to sit down and understand the characters that are put into the wrestling world, so we can understand their motivations, their mindset, etc., so on. And you look at the root of the problem with Roman Reigns, like you stated earlier, he hasn't been a changed person. That's why I said to many of my friends and even people I talk about wrestling with that I personally don't even feel like Roman Reigns Solo Sikoa doesn't deserve it either. He needs to take responsibility for his action with the whole losing thing, like, because that's the whole reason why he's in the position he's in now, because Roman failed loss after loss. But just getting on Roman, I mean, Roman hasn't been a changed person at all. You would think after losing your title, that would, like, hit you really hard across the face, like you got a slap across the face, like kind of like you're facing reality, where it's like, okay, I just lost my title, my family's not even with me anymore. Maybe I need to shape up and actually take accountability for what I did. But he's not. He's been the same person. He's been an asshole. I mean, that's honestly the best word to describe. He's been an asshole. So Drew going after the root of the problem makes sense, and obviously he's going to go after the people that associated with him, because those same people who associated with him also did some pretty nasty shit to him. Because you had Drew as a baby face around the time, which honestly, Drew's just Drew. Like he even said in his TikTok thing, he's just doing things that a human would normally act upon. He's not even including the face or tweener or heel thing. He's just doing normal human things. So Drew's just being Drew. So it makes sense. It's like, okay, you know, these guys fucked with me in the past when it came to Drew, when it came to Solo, Sammy, and all of them. Obviously, I'm going to take out my frustration on them. I'm going to get rid of them, and I'm going to go after the target, which is why I predict in the end, once we get that January 6th match between Roman and Solo, that's why I'm predicting he's going to get involved somehow. It does not make any sense to keep standing on business and talking shit after shit and not do anything when it comes to Roman. It's kind of like that old saying, hitting two birds at one stone. But maybe with that alliance with Solo, maybe, because I do remember he did say on SmackDown, we'll revisit that when the time comes. So, so it's not like he completely forgot about it, but with like the whole Roman scenario, I mean, he's dead center right there. It's hard to really get the guy on the show because, you know, he's always doing something, which is perfectly fine. But the fact that he's there at that moment and you're seeing him get something that he wants, Drew could have that thing in his head going off like, you costing me the world title. I'm going to cost you something that you really want so you don't get that power, so you know how I feel. And the whole thing with Sammy, I mean, I like how Sammy, like he stated before, he was trying to level with him so he could, because it made sense what Sammy was saying, even though he was gaslighting him. It made sense because that's just a part of the business. That's just how it is. And you heard a lot of stories like that. But I liked how, honestly, I would have to say this is probably my favorite part of the show, really, was just all of the story that went into this whole segment between Drew and Sammy. Like that was probably the cherry on the top for me personally. It was something I can definitely say I enjoyed the most out of everything we got.
Yeah, and I like how Drew kind of came back on Sammy too about it. He was just like, where was it? I wrote it in here too. Drew. Oh yeah, how I was just like, okay, you know, that's all nice and well and good, Sammy, but here's the other thing too. You can at least travel a good distance for your family. Like your family, I mean, it's almost the equivalent of like a car ride. Like, yeah, you have to hop on a plane, but like that's like at maximum like maybe a 4-6 hour plane ride wherever Sammy might be at. For Drew, he has to go like across the ocean to see his family. Like there's a lot more that goes into that kind of travel than, oh, I'm just gonna hop up to Canada. You know, I'm just gonna hop up to the top hat of America. Like
from I believe from New York, Canada's like Montreal, I believe is an hour and a half away on a plane ride.
Yeah, so
less than that.
That's like snap of the finger for him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh yeah, it's easy for you to say all that, Sammy. Again, your travel is a little bit easier than mine. And I mean, Sammy's not there just to talk though. He tries to have a fight even though he's not. I don't understand this part because like apparently he. I might have just misheard something, but apparently he wasn't cleared, or I guess maybe they meant it as, oh, you're not 100% to fight or anything.
Oh, what,
but,
to Jay?
Yeah, Sammy's. No, to Sammy.
Oh, really?
So
I probably misheard it either.
Then.
I think they're playing it off because Saturday night's main event was 2 days after. I mean, that Raw, that because they did a double taping last week.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
So before that Raw, like 2 days prior, that's probably what they're trying to sell with that, because sometimes when they do these tape shows, they don't normally mention where they're at, but they mentioned Boston this time, and we knew they were in Boston last week. So it's like they're probably just trying to show the effects of their match. That's why you saw like Sammy banged up because realistically by this point that probably wouldn't be an issue right here by his eye. So I'm thinking it's just playing off the effects of that match.
That and also a few times.
They also had a brawl. They also had a
that too.
brawl last week too.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yes. Also like a bit of the wording for tonight, they mixed up because they kept saying 2 days ago at the kickoff show for Netflix, even though technically it was last week Wednesday for them, but they acted like it was 2 days ago. So like, there's a few of the wording of the commentary from tonight from Joe and Wade that kind of messed me up a bit. A bit of confusion of the days. But question: Did you guys know about this statistic that Joe mentioned during the commentary? Wow. It was 10 losses that Sammy has over Drew McIntyre, and only 3 of them have been lost this year. So that means 10 over his career. That's something I didn't know that Drew has over Sammy. 10 wins.
That.
Yeah, I would have to go back and fact check that just because I know WWE likes to, edit history and all that.
Yes, so that's why I was a bit thrown off. I'm like in my head, I'm like 10 losses that Drew has over. 10 wins that Drew has over Sammy. That kind of threw me off. I'm like, wait, so Sammy was never really. So if that's true or that's the case, I know sometime in the line, Sammy will be winning over Drew just to make that like a storyline.
Yeah. And I kind of hope it's for a world title too. Like they can really play off of that too.
They could.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, Sammy's not there to just talk. He ends up attacking Drew, but Drew gets the upper hand, and out comes Jay. Jay is now medically cleared to come back and compete and do all that wonderful fun stuff. So he comes out for the save, and we get Drew and Sammy in a rematch for our main event tonight. Which, not gonna lie, the match tonight very, very similar to their match at Saturday night's main event, but the story mainly being Sammy not being 100% and mainly being like it was the target on his back was literally his back, like his lower back throughout the match. And like I do like how in the finish of the match it does play into that, because like Sammy tries to go for the Helluva kick, he tries to get that running start, but because that lower back's hurt close to his legs and all that, he can't do it. Drew capitalizes, wins the match. Cool, neat, awesome. Hey, look, a post-match beatdown. Haven't seen that before. Oh, hey, look, here comes Jey Uso coming out in the same way that he did earlier tonight. And look here comes Temu Bloodline to do another beatdown on Jay and Sammy. And, fine, cool, neat, we're getting their heat and all that. It's just, I don't know. At that point of the night, I was just kind of like, all right, are we ending the show yet?
Yeah.
Look, I was upset about it because the match, guys, the entrances, it's hilarious that Drew McIntyre came out, I think, at 9:38. Sammy came out 9:40. I'm like, oh shit, we're about to have a 20-minute match. Man, I lied to myself so badly once I said that, and once I saw the amount of commercials that's been going on in my head. I believe it was Walker's drop. I believe it was around 9:48, and a commercial happened. Which this was the second commercial, like back to back almost. And in my head, I had to question myself: did the match start yet? I don't even know. And then we come back for commercial break. They're in the middle of the ring, just fighting, and I'm like, oh shit, the match did start. It's just that we already had like almost 2 commercial breaks, and I just didn't even notice it because it was so back to back. And as a viewer, I was very annoyed. As a fan, super fucking disappointed. But what makes me more question to what Watkins brought up earlier, that as somebody who wants to see a 20-minute match like this on a live TV show, but then what happens if we get it from Netflix and we also don't get picture to picture, and that's something that what we've been asking for from some type of streaming service like Netflix to do this with these type of opportunities, and we don't get them, I'm gonna be truly upset. Like, what was the point of this move to Netflix if it's almost the same of copy and paste product?
So I'm gonna say this though. As of reporting goes, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, because I feel like once they're behind Netflix, there's gonna be a lot more bars behind it, so they're not gonna really know a lot of hidden secrets because it's not like on a cable network. But it's like when it comes to like the whole Netflix situation, one of the things that was said is that a lot more of things that we normally don't get on television is going to be a lot more flexible. So when it comes to matches, you can actually have proper time for them. You could actually end them the way that you want. If you have to go over, because the thing is, it could be 3 hours. You can add an extra 10 minutes or so, as long as they're able to get the job done, because they don't have to worry about a movie coming on after Raw or whatever the case may be. That's all of the equation. So that's one thing I know for sure that I do believe in, is the flexibility of how they want to pace things. And for the most part, even if we do get commercials, it's probably just going to be a similar thing that we get with Peacock, with the little video packages of WWE, and that's it. It's not going to be anything crazy. We're going to have to wait 10 minutes or so. And even with the picture, like, I know a lot of people like picture, but at the end of the day, though, I might be the only one here that doesn't really care about it, because I don't know what they're saying when we get the picture for picture. So how am I supposed to get invested in the commentary? Because would I love to go to a live show? Of course, because of the experience. But if I'm at home, I want to know the story of what Michael Cole's saying and what Wade Barrett's saying. And sometimes when we get that picture for picture, if they mention a certain statistic, some sort of history thing, or whatever the case may be, I don't know if I would really be that big of a fan of the whole picture-to-picture thing. If they do it over something going on, that's a different story. I don't know if you guys saw a little blooper Saturday Night's Main Event there with Michael Cole and all of them that was online. They're actually going over the script, and I guess somebody left the mic on. So it was a little funny hearing the little interaction with them.
That.
But it's
heard of that. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it though.
But I don't think the ads are gonna be like USA ads, because that's WWE time now. That's Netflix time. They paid over $5 billion for this, so they probably want to make sure they're doing things properly. So as of like reports going out right now, I'm not gonna focus too much on them, because I'd rather see how things translate with that first show, so we can get a good understanding of how things are going to be structured.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my thing. Like, I wanna wait until seeing like the first couple shows, because like they'll do, because that's the other thing too with like, and I mean, I know we're focusing on the picture-in-picture aspect of it, but like part of it too is the fact that they're so inconsistent with it. It's like 1 week we'll have like at least a picture in like 1 hour, or like both hours, at least once one of the hours. And it's like, okay, great, cool, neat. And then the next week there's like none, you know. And that's what I never understood about these taped shows. It's like, I get they want to have like the same flow that they have when they have the live shows, but it's like, you have the opportunity to, you know, maybe don't cut out a lot of a match, and like maybe cut out just like the little snippet. Do what?
If it I guess one thing I will say, if it's like a big match, I feel like they should just drop that shit. If it's something not saying that certain matches on there don't matter, that don't deserve to get as much time, but if it's something like a Cody thing, KO thing, Roman, Gunther, EO, etc., so on, put all your eyes on that, like the main stuff you really want to nail in the coffin for a lot of people to really give a shit about. But if it's like other things, okay, you can do that.
I agree. Like anybody with the big names or like the main event, don't do ads, don't do commercial break for the main events, because it takes you out of it. I hate it when I was watching NXT or the main roster, and I see the main event, and I'm supposed to be invested to what like this was ending the show, the big main event, and you're gonna have commercial break. It takes the viewer out of it when they're watching at home. Great, I'm sure the audience in the crowd are loving it, as they should. But then as the viewer, we matter too, and we're being chopped liver. And sometimes we don't even get the full fight until they put it on YouTube saying, oh, 3 weeks later, the full fight of this match was them. Like, great. I would love to see that actually when it was on my screen 3 weeks ago.
Actually, you know what they do? You know what they should do? Just structure it like the PLEs. That's what you do.
They really should.
Like, structure it like the PLEs after a certain match ends, whoever, because you know what they do when on the commercials, they're trying to set up whatever is on stage, or the whole you get what I'm trying to say, Vash, like how the product looks, if they're moving on. Like example, Grayson Waller effect. Obviously, we're not going to give a shit seeing that whole thing structured right there when it comes to the carpet.
For the next set, the next scene.
Yeah, if you want to do it for that, that's fine. But I feel like structure it like the PLE, give matches time that needs time and all that.
Yeah. Plus, you could use your backstage segments as well to kind of lengthen that time if need be, you know. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we'll see how Netflix plays out with it. You know, I would kind of hope that they don't put commercials during matches anymore, because like
I hope not.
that flow is just
Yeah.
it's really killing me this year.
Outdated.
Like,
It was. It's been
it really is.
There's so many times, chat. There's so many times I'm watching the fight, and of course, I'm multitasking as I should. I'm watching on my tablet, and I'm doing cooking, prepping, doing stuff that I need to do for the house. But then what's the worst thing is that they do picture picture, and I don't hear commentary. So I don't hear what, like, if I take my eyes off the screen, I'm not gonna be able to see a small screen that's right here in the top corner that's showing the fight, and then the whole big ass commercial I hear, and then I hear the commercial, but don't hear what's going on in the actual fight.
Too.
Exactly, the commercial, like, yo, look, I get it, W. Yeah, I need your money, but nobody gives a fuck of a new ad of a Burger King, Wendy's. Nobody gives a fuck of the new tie-dye fucking detergent.
New BK melts. Oh my god, that jingle's so stupid.
Even though I have done like commercials myself for work, I don't even watch commercials of that I've done for work. At the end of the day, I get paid for it. So when it comes to the product, as a fan, as a critic, when it comes to WWE, I'm expecting big things for 2025 when it comes to the product of Raw and Netflix, where instead of excitement of me coming into Raw and Netflix in 2 weeks, I have more of underwhelmed energy and lowering my expectation, because I'm more curious now than excitement from the small rumors and reports that we've been seeing. I'm more questioning, all right, cool. I'd rather get there and see what happens and rather read these things and like, damn, I'm getting worried, more of a little itch here. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
The other thing you got to think about too is SmackDown's going to be turning into a 3-hour show now.
Yeah, I will be right back, but I have my new headphones, so I can still hear you.
Oh, you're good. You are good. But like, that's the other thing. It's like SmackDown's going to be 3 hours now. So it's like, are they going to be changing the format of SmackDown? Because like, I know for us in the States, it's not going anywhere, you know, network wise, but you know, outside of the States, that's also going to Netflix. Like, people forget that. Like,
I told Walkers and I told Drop Chat that I will be interested in getting a VPN just so I don't have to deal with the SmackDown on USA. I can literally just watch SmackDown on Netflix in the same app that I have. I don't know how it will work, but that's something I will like to try, because I'm not gonna do the bullshit of the USA. But it's a good question that Walker bring up. On one side of the world, we're watching on USA Network, but then on the other side of the world, they're all watching it on the same app and everything. And we're not going to get SmackDown on Netflix or NXT until 2026, I believe, in the States. I believe one of the report that was back then.
Something like that. I'd have to go back and look at reports and all that.
Yeah, because Peacock still has access to it until the end of Q3, I believe, of 2025. So from there, everything will be officially on Netflix. But then they said that SmackDown Netflix won't go there in the States until the end of Q4 or 2026. So we just wait and see. Things are still up and fresh in this contract. So us fans still are waiting to find out what's legit, what's correct, or what exactly is going on in that department.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. You know, if you don't like how they do it, you could just get yourself a Max subscription and tune in to AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays for simulcasting over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. But I don't think we have anything more to say on this whole Drew Bloodline stuff, because, again, like, not much substance tonight. It's really just hearing Drew's words and its justifications going all around, and then just another beatdown by Temu Bloodline, just keeping that heat going and all that. So, hey, you guys want to know what's up with Gunther and his next opponent? Well, too bad, no Gunther this week. Fan freaking tastic. Yeah, your
Gunther?
World champion. Yeah, exactly. Who's Gunther?
If I mean, honestly, just to say something on it, whoever wins the Seth or Punk match, that's more than likely his next opponent. That's what I.
What question? Would it be their next opponent for? Would it be their next opponent for the Saturday Night Main Event in January, or would it be
No.
the next opponent for Royal Rumble?
I would
Royal
hope. I
Rumble.
would hope Royal Rumble, because if it's like a Gunther versus Seth or Gunther versus CM Punk, I'd rather that be on a PLE, to at least, like we recently discussed, it gets time, because that's something you should care about and invest a lot of focus into when it comes to a match. And Saturday Night's Main Event really wouldn't. I mean, I personally wouldn't do it, because as much as it is a TV special, a lot of people were put off because of the whole constant commercial thing over the time. And if it's a big match, especially heading into WrestleMania season, you kind of want to save that for a PLE. I mean, it's a PLE worthy match to begin with. I don't know if I would give it away on Saturday Night's Main Event, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's where you can do that little Logan Paul match that they tried to
Yeah.
tease on the Netflix.
I agree.
little
GG
presser.
with that.
So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, let's go ahead into our mid-card story. So, you want to talk about a story that, I mean, has a lot of substance, but we didn't get jack shit for tonight? Oh, I'm glad you brought up Seth Rollins and CM Punk, because, okay, on paper, you have a Seth Rollins sit-down interview with Jackie Redmond, and just like, oh, great, we're gonna, like, dive into, like, why Seth really doesn't like Punk, blah, 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 and it's like, we get nothing. We get like nothing. We lose. It's over. Game over. Done. Kaput. It's really just the same shit that we've heard constantly. Seth just doesn't like CM Punk. And next week it's not going to be a match. It's going to be a fight. An interview. Thank you, Jackie Redmond, for another great interview. I'm about to just join in the New Day and just like the Jackie Redmond hate, because what even was this? This was just to be like, hey, here's Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. Don't forget, everybody, we're going to have them have a fight on freaking Netflix, and then we're going to have them have a face-to-face next week? When it's just going to delve in, like, it's just going to end up in another brawl. Like, I hope they actually say some shit to make us go, oh, shit. But it's like, what? Oh, my gosh, just like, I don't know, man. It just feels like we're just plodding along. We're just like making steps just to make steps, you know? Like I don't know. I could be alone in all this, but I really don't care. This did nothing for me.
I
Like
was
it was
very.
hype.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I was very disappointed by this interview, Jackie. Like it felt like they're milking this, and not the good kind of milk.
Hmm.
They're making the story where they could have had a better digestible interview with Serranos and understand the psychosis of why he don't like CM Punk. He said it in his blood, is in his veins, or I believe like he said like I have to get this out of my system. Like the demons are hunting him. All these things was great to hear, but it just kept being heard as phrases. It like just had like, oh, I have these things I gotta do,
Hmm.
but we didn't hear the why. We didn't hear, hey, I gotta fight CM Punk because he spoke shit about his company for the past 10 years and it's been eating me alive. I try to get him to teach me how to be a wrestler for free, but now all these years later, I've done things much better than him. Like it would have been better if there was any type of substance to actually feel the remorse of how he feels and the pain that he is leading on.
Yeah. Like you could have led more into that. Like, yeah, you could have been like, okay, yeah, I did want him to train it. And like you could have had it where Seth, yeah, showed a little bit more emotion to it. Because like if he was able to do that with the information we had, then we would be able to, grasp more into this story and all that. Like, yeah, we're already grasped into it because I mean, hell, it's CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Like that's one of the dream matches people wanted since Punk came back and all that. So it's like, okay, give us more of a reason to like care. Give us more investment with it, and maybe we could get that next week before they has a fight. Maybe we can. I don't know. It's just I don't have a lot of hope for that. I just feel like they're just gonna say something to piss each other off, but hopefully those things are like something we can actually like delve into. But I don't know. Drop, am I alone in this? I don't care if I am, but it's just like I want to know, am I alone in all this?
I mean, I honestly feel like, I mean, it's like I stated earlier, it just feels like they're just saving everything until that Netflix premiere. And I feel like what we really want to get, we'll probably get it next week. But I will say I was expecting a little bit more out of this whole build-up between Punk and Seth, considering how hyped it was ever since their very first interaction when Punk came back. And maybe that was done by design, but at the same time, I feel like if they're trying to put a lot of hype around this match that Seth has with Punk at the Monday Night Raw premiere for Netflix, I feel like they would have done a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe they're saving it for next week, but like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. This was just a nothing segment. Again, it was just, you might as well have just played a video package from like last week.
Yeah.
And gotten the same result. Like, I don't know. Just a waste of a segment. So I don't care. We're moving on because there's nothing more to really talk about there. So hey, Judgment Day, there's kind of still a thing. And okay, I'm gonna start this off because there's a trope that I just despise in media. I've always not liked this. Ever since I was a kid, I hated this kind of trope. It's the thing where it's just like, oh, two characters aren't talking to each other, so they say what they want to say to the person to another person that they're with, using them as like the phone, if you will, or like the conduit or whatever for the conversation. Like, oh, not Rhea, fuck. Raquel, tell Finn that he's a dirty, stinky Irishman. Oh yeah? Well, hey JD, tell Liv that she smells like wet donkey after a bath or something. I don't know. It's like I despise that trope, and they started doing that tonight. But hey, it's Christmas. We all got to come together, and Dom's gonna talk to Pierce and take control, and they're gonna do something with Damian Priest, which we get another match with Damian and Dom, and it doesn't go too far because hey, another DQ finish tonight because the Judgment Day are here, and I'm surprised that this is like our only Christmas based, quote unquote Christmas based match that we had, because like you could have easily done like, oh, here's our what did they used to call it, like the street fight on 34, it's like Miracle on 34th Street Fight or something. I don't know, whatever name they had with it. Like normally we get stuff like that, but like we didn't get any of that this year, which is weird. Unless that happened on SmackDown, which I didn't watch. But yeah, so like Judgment Day are beating down Damian as they normally do every week, and out comes the War Raiders for the save, and it looks like we're getting a bit of a team up with Damian Priest and the War Raiders against Judgment Day. Again, a lot of stuff that we've seen before.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh yeah, go yeah. I'm gonna just pass on to you for this one because I have nothing for this.
So here's the thing with this. This is why I'm very thankful this transfer window is a thing, because there's a lot of things you can mix in the pot that really need to go on different shows. Like if I was booking this, if I was booking this, I would do, okay, we have that tag match already, so that's already set up. Get that out of the way. Do a Finn versus Damian match for that Netflix premiere. End it there, and have either or go on a different show to move away from one another, because it shouldn't have see, this is my biggest issue with this. The way the potential of it was there, a lot of people were talking about, you know what, it would be pretty cool to see Finn and Damian eventually, you know, cross paths and have a feud with one another, because there was a story there, it was compelling at the time. The one error that they had in this feud is they had Damian go over at Bad Blood. It did not make sense in the slightest for Damian to go over in that match because you were trying to build Finn as this unstoppable threat, and they did a good job of it around that time. Well, I mean, we did say, well, I'll take that back. The build to that match wasn't that good, but basically what I said, you were trying to make him look like you're trying to build up Finn to be like this unstoppable threat. You should have had Finn go over in that match, continue to torment Damian, do what you needed to do to build him up more, and then eventually get that payoff in the end where Damian finally gets that win and he moves on. Now it's reversed, and to be perfectly honest, Finn probably needs the win the most out of them all because he's pretty much a fish. He's just all over the place right now. Like I don't understand this whole judgment thing anymore because they used to be something that we always had like a fun time talking about on the show. It's not really there anymore. Like it literally feels like they're just stuck in a vortex. They're just stuck in a loop where it's literally the exact same thing we see every single week. It doesn't seem like it's really going anywhere. It's always the same angle. And we even brought this up at Bloodline sometimes when I used to do this whole thing where it's like a beatdown, show ends, beatdown, show ends. Either it's in Roman's favor or Solo's favor. It's always like, okay, guys, let's get all together. You hit your finish. I'll hit mine. We'll do a coup de grace on the top. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then you take Damian out, or Damian gets the advantage. He does a South of Heaven, etc. So on. It's again, it's not me targeting the performers. It's the creative. It's just, it shouldn't have lasted as long as it is. And if you wanted to wrap it up before the end of the year, we should have had a better structure when it came to getting to that destination towards the end. This is why I would end it at the Netflix premiere, have Finn go on a different show, or have Damian go on a different show, whatever. Do not keep them on the same show, because just like the Alpha Academy, which I'm gonna touch on that because that shit's like pissing me the fuck off. And I'll explain my reasoning why. And again, we're attacking the creative, not the performers. So do not take that out of context when it comes to people watching the VOD or anything on the show, because it's always aimed at the creative, not the performers, because they're just doing their job. They're just doing what they're told. It's not on them. Just like when we go to work, our bosses give us a task. We have to complete that task. That's basically what their performers are doing. They're doing all of these different things for our entertainment, and that's all. But I don't know. This thing just needs to wrap up. Like, that's honestly the best thing I could really say. War Raiders, just to give some love to them. Great that they had the tag titles. And I saw a report not that long ago that with them getting the titles, that means it's going to help rebuild the division. Hopefully we get something similar that we see on SmackDown with them. So that's a plus for me. But Judgment Day, need to wrap that up. Up.
Well, like that's one thing I've really been noticing about Triple H's like creative process. We'll do a feud for a bit, and then for some reason we'll go away for the feud for like a month, and then we'll go back to it, you know, after it's like cooled down a lot. So like with this whole Judgment Day Finn Balor thing, it's like that kind of cooled down a little bit after Bad Blood, and then it's like, okay, well, now we have to do, you know, we have to finish Finn and Priest and all that shit. It's like, oh, okay. All right. The same thing with like Liv and Rhea, because like, and part of like with Liv and Rhea, that's more like injury based. So I don't blame them on that aspect, because they kind of had to pivot a little bit because of, you know, injuries and all that. But like, you get the same thing with that. But like the biggest one is, and we'll talk about it here soon, the Alpha Academy stuff. So it's like, why are we going back and forth so much? Like, why can't we just focus on that feud, have it end, and then move on from it, you know? Because like a lot of these characters can do really good stuff. Like the whole when Liv wasn't dealing with Rhea during like the build for like EO and all that, like it was fine stuff. Like you actually got some more like loved Liv's character. Like she was able to play off of other people, and that's the thing with your characters. You can't just have them be stuck in one spot. Have them grow, have them move, have them like interact with more people beyond just one person. You know,
Exactly, yeah.
Because
Because
stop going back to that person.
it kind of feels like a one-trick pony.
Yeah. So I don't know. We got a 6-man set up for next week, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Vash should, yeah.
Exactly. I know you're gonna pass it to me. Vash, you got any thoughts about this? Do I got thoughts about this? Yes. Are they good thoughts? No, because the most stupidest segment it was when fucking Finn was telling Liv and Liv was telling Finn things that they want to say to each other but not to each other because they're mad at each other. I'm like, bitch, are y'all in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
What is this?
Oh my God.
Why do we need this in our pro wrestling? Yes, it's relatable. We have had friends like this. I've had friends like this. Have I been that person? No. I speak to my emotions. I speak to people up front if there's an issue. Have I had people that I know that do this? Yes. Is it fun dealing with people like this in person? No. Is it fun seeing it on the big screen? Is it funny comedy? Yes, we have seen this in comedy movies. We want to see this in pro wrestling about a team. It's called the Judgment Day and has been dominated for the past 2-3 years and has lost their fuel to their fire for the past 6 months. And to have them feel like an actual clubhouse of two alpha leaders kind of bicker to each other. It felt fucking flat. It felt no substance of each of them trying to say, hey, tell Finn this, tell Liv this, but each of the other side characters was going to say what to say, but then they just kept interrupting. It just felt very high school related, and I was not interested. If I want to watch high school stuff, I could go to watch my anime that has better story, better emotions, if that's the case. Because I'm sorry, Triple H, you're not in high school no more. Your writers are not in high school. They don't know what the fuck they're doing in their high school storylines because they're not doing a good job. That's one when it comes to this. Two, when it comes to Dominic and the Damian Priest stuff, the only one thing I'm gonna say, I'm tired of these DQs. We get it. You're a squad. You're about to jump somebody at the end, and then Judgment Day comes in.
Yeah.
The one thing that got me excited is to see War Raiders. They come in, they give their hands, they took them out, and seeing the backstage after of the War Raiders speaking to Damian Priest about, hey, we may have never seen eye to eye, but I have respect that we have the honor for one another in this. So I appreciate the speaking of value of honor as some guy who always has been about being a gentleman and honor in my life. It was really dope to see that about the War Raiders. Me seeing the interaction that they speak more as well from the previous iteration of the Viking Raiders to see their characters as the War Raiders of what they were always meant to be is really exciting to see. I have never seen this type of iteration of them, so these are new faces to my eyes. And by the way, a big shout out to the War Raiders. Just had like a recent interview with Chris Benoit, and I learned a bit more about Igor, I forget his name, from the War Raiders. Ivar. His story of his neck and his injuries. Praise your soul. I'm glad to see you back in a good shape for you to do what you can. So that's my honest thoughts about the segment. Fuck the high school storylines and Triple H when it comes to that. You need to do better. And I just like the War Raiders to see what they're doing.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue with this topic about like
honestly, I feel like
coming back and all that.
Yeah, because I feel like a good majority of this stuff does not need as much attention that, especially this one. I'm not gonna even. I'm just gonna go straight to.
Well, that's the thing.
I didn't even know it was meant to happen. I didn't even know.
Well, I think it was announced last week because it was like a backstage thing. But like that's the thing. This was a glorified squash match. That's what this was. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, here comes Otis standing up to American Made.
Yeah.
It's literally 3-on-1. Why aren't y'all doing anything? Y'all are just gonna back off? Like, oh, we're heels and all that. Oh well.
Oh my god.
It's just like it was 3-on-1.
By the chat, in case you didn't know what we're talking about Akira Tozawa versus Chad Gable, where all three of us did not care for because Chad Gable was getting the great push he was for this whole past 10 months of the year, but then the last 2 months it just fell flat. Where
it's
Chad
been
Gable
longer.
and the I'm sorry, I can't remember their stupid ass name. American Made.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like they should go to SmackDown. I
Yeah.
feel like what they showed last week with Cody, or I believe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now. Damn, time flies long. 3 weeks ago with Cody and Chad Gable, I feel like that should stay on SmackDown if Cody does stay, or eventually Gunther goes over there. Just Chad Gable being in SmackDown with American Made, because Alpha Academy and Otis, they had the perfect time, but they never pulled the plug. Where they should have had an Otis and Chad Gable match over a Bad Blood, and they should just ended the feud there and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna spend like too much time on this. Like, this whole Chad Gable story of the Alpha Academy should have been done around Bad Blood, like Vash said. The fact that we're bringing it up again just because you're trying to throw shit in there, just for the fuck of it, just because you want to put out something for them to do before they head to SmackDown. I mean, come on. This is like old shit. You're doing the exact same thing of Otis, where he goes up to Gable, doesn't do anything, and then you just end it off right there. Like, back then, if you were to actually have a match and actually have a satisfying conclusion, people would care. Now you're pretty much at the point where people don't give a shit anymore. And I'm not the only one saying it, because I even notice a lot of people coming out online, even like people that I watch that do the exact same thing we're doing, where they're like, okay, we're coming back to this after how many months now? Like, it's just like very random that we're doing this. Just seeing them interact with each other again was just very random after them not even associating with each other for so long. That's why I'm not going to give as much time on it as I am right now, because it's just stupid. I'm just going to come out and say it's stupid.
Yeah. And Drop, what hurts the most is that you put me on the Creed Brothers back on the NXT. Seeing the Creed Brothers do so good back then as tag team matches, and then get moved
seeing them
into Raw in this spot, hurts my soul, because I got to love Creed Brothers and see what they could have, the potential, the whole pro wrestling gymnastic vibe of what they have shown to us, and now that's just gone in smoke just because of them, teaming up with Chad Gable. It just felt like it's falling flat, and it sucks.
Yeah, and that's it.
And like, Otis spent months wearing a free Otis shirt, and it's just like, well, you are free.
Yeah.
Do something.
No consequences, though. It was a shirt being worn about, hey, free me, but I'm like, cool. There's no cage, there's no build-up, there is no shirt actually being ripped off to say I'm finally free. You took off the handcuffs from Chad Gable. Nothing. It just felt like, okay, we done? All right, cool.
This is another thing similar to the whole Judgment thing we just went over. This could have been resolved around Bad Blood, and you could have moved on from there. Now you're prolonging a story that doesn't need... See, here's the thing. I'm all for long-term booking when it comes to certain things that need it. If it's like a Cody thing, if it's a Roman thing, Seth thing, Punk thing, okay. But if it's like stuff like this, does not need long-term booking.
No. Well, this is... you can clearly tell that this is like their C team writing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not their A team for like Cody and KO and all that. It's not even the B team for like freaking like Gunther stuff or like the mid card title stuff. Like, this is their C or D team. Like, this is like the interns getting a typewriter,
pretty much
being able to write scripts and all that. Like, and I mean, I'm sorry for like being so harsh about it, but like I'm just gonna tell it how it is and how I feel about it and all that. Like, it sucks, and it feels like such a waste of time, because it's like, why are we going back to this thing that should have been resolved months ago?
And it sucks is that we keep bringing up Bad Blood, and they literally brought up this POE for these reasons to end feuds. Like, this was a reason to bring up this Bad Blood POE, and it's not, and it wasn't used at the best advantage. Instead of a more of a marketing for Cody and I believe it was Metro Booming or whoever he was with at the time. Yeah, so it was used for more for marketing, promoting, but not to actually use it for story based. Like, hey, let's end the feuds that are here for these purposes, which was Chad, the Judgment Day, the Damien Priest, the Rhea and Liv. Instead, it just extended. Like, the point of that feud was to end stuff. It was to like Bad Blood, the purpose, and it's just falling flat, and it's just very disappointing. So I hope for the new year, 2025, Chad, I know you signed a new contract. Hopefully, there's something better for you in 2025. Where you get deserved the IC title. Or Chad, it would have been nice to see you on a match with Bron Breakker. That match would have been amazing to see if that was down the line as well.
Yeah. But hey, don't worry. Don't forget, we have a women's IC title tournament, which uh, does WWE even care about their women's IC title? Like it feels like it's just shoehorned in to be like, all right, both shows need to have a
Yeah.
title. Both shows need to have a mid card title. Like I don't know. Like this could just be a me thing too, but it just feels like the build that they had for the women's U.S. title meant more than this women's IC title
Yeah.
thing.
I
Like
feel like
it just
they.
yeah.
I would say that I feel like they forced the IC title too early instead of waiting to the new year in January, because I felt like it was a bad spot to put the IC title right now on Raw when things are transitioning to Netflix. Instead, they could have waited in January, because look, as much as I joke around, I'm glad all these women are having a job, paying their bills and need to. But when you have characters that are not entertaining and it just puts you off, like, sorry to say, Sonya Deville, the Pure Fusion Collective. They're not entertaining. They're not hooking the audience. They're not succeeding in the name, the group, nothing. And when you have her acting all tough, acting like she wants this and has her chance to IC title, when even Adam Pearce be like, yeah, you're right, but you're not getting the opportunity. I'm gonna give it to Io Sky. For Sonya to be like, why does she deserve it? Girl didn't do anything. Like, yeah, but you didn't do anything either. All you did was take out the opponent team.
Yeah.
The fuck?
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not rewarding bad behavior.
Yeah.
Like good. Good on you, Pierce.
Yeah.
Keep doing that. I like you for that. But
Yeah.
so our match this week, our triple threat to, finish off the quarterfinals and all that. Natalya versus Alba Fire versus Io Sky, who ends up getting put into this. Or, excuse me, as the internet likes to call her nowadays, Io Hogan, which is
It's
fucking
stupid.
stupid.
I don't
in
see
its
it.
own right.
Look. I'm not pure diehard fan like Watkins or Drop is for Io Sky. I love Io Sky. She's amazing for what she is. I haven't seen much of her career like I should have. But for you to be calling her Io Hogan, like, really? Like, she is love. She is great what she does, and she is known for great moments. The trash can, the icy many titles, many matches that she has put. There's people that are already speculating for Io versus Rio for WrestleMania next year. So it shows the fans love her. So sometimes when the internet speaks, y'all just don't gotta listen to it because y'all just stupid. But for this match, was I rooting for Natalya? No. But I was expecting Natalya to win from how the rumors report of over the past week has been saying. And from how Natalya said, like, yo, this is my chance, this is my opportunity. It felt like the song of Eminem, one chance, one opportunity, you gotta grab it. And I felt like she had the chance, but Io did it, and I'm sure they did this because of
Star Power.
Star Power. Thank you. That's what we're looking for. To add the star power, to add the stock for the IC title. Will she win it? I don't think so, because all three of us see like a different vision of what I mentioned earlier. Rio versus Io for WrestleMania. So it was great to have her there, but my chances more for Dakota and Lyra is what I'm gonna say right now, straight up.
If I'm gonna be straight up with you, like Io, like I'll just say this first before I get into the negatives. Like, Io definitely deserves to be in this spot because she's a great talent. And if you were to hypothetically put the title on her, that would automatically give it a fuckload of credibility just based on her resume. So she would be a perfect fit to be the first holder for this title. But like we discussed, there's bigger plans for her, and I'm feeling pretty confident that she's going to have a great 2025, and she definitely deserves something like a Royal Rumble win, something that she hasn't done, because the only other two people that were able to do that prior was Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka. So if Io were to do something like that, and knowing how loved she is by the audience, just like those two were, it would be a great moment for her, which is why I'm sticking to that route of what we're going on.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, with this match itself, I mean, you look at who is in it, you could already know who Io was going to win. And like, when it comes to the whole Io Hogan thing, I don't know if that's a meme. I don't know if people are just saying it just because of the blue check mark, just to get engagement farming, so you have enough money to get yourself some Five Guys or wherever the fuck it may be. But it's like, I mean, this is a girl who lost her title at WrestleMania to Bayley, which it made sense around that time. Could she have retained it? Sure, but she hasn't been winning like every single match that she's been in. She's been having some great victories here and there, and then she's had some losses. And it's a whole term when people are saying like buried too. Like half the time people don't know what those terms mean. Like if you want to really break down the Hogan thing in like 10 seconds, I wasn't around in that era, but based on what I've heard from family that watched it around that time, Hogan only went over. Hogan went over because everybody within the wrestling community has that ego. They want the cameras on them all the time. That basically want to rip the spotlight from someone else, all the focus on them. She's never striked me as that kind of person, and that's just a stupid thing just to put out there. Like the best way to sum up blank name Hogan nowadays is, oh, my favorite didn't win, so I'm gonna label you a Hogan. That's basically all it is. But yeah, like within this match itself, EO won. We have Lyra versus EO next week, and then we have Dakota versus Zoe Stark next week. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm just gonna put it out there. PFC is going to fuck over Damage Control's chances, because you wouldn't have that segment there with Sonya Deville getting pissed that she wasn't put into the tournament if Adam Pearce like, okay, you know what, you can go in there, that's fine. But the fact that he said, oh, EO is actually in this now that Sonya sees that Lyra and EO are going head to head, and there's a chance that EO could progress and actually be in the finals, she might want to fuck over EO. She might want to fuck over Dakota Kai. You can easily see it being one of those situations that plays out. And then unfortunately that might be a little side quest for Dakota and EO. I don't know why.
Well, that's fine. That's fine, because that could just give them another notch on their belt for that. Like that's fine.
Put it
that's
down
whatever,
for good, honestly.
Hell, yeah, exactly. And I mean, we also get an added benefit of Zoe Stark moving up in the tournament, which I'm not opposed to, because again, her getting more reps, being out in the crowd and all that's always a good thing to help progress you and help you move forward and all that. But like,
and plus it's natural too.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I put it in the notes here too. It's just like if you've ever played any of the WWE 2K games, this match was literally easy mode, and you were playing as EO. Like, the only reason that Natalya or Alba Fire even got any offense in is because, oh crap, I forgot to press the triangle button to reverse. Oops, well, now I'm in this cycle of I can't press it at the right time. You're a easy mode. Please stop. You're not supposed to be doing moves. Okay, there we go. Now I won. Great. Now we can move on. Like, that's basically what this match was, But
also, nice congrats to Alba Fire to get a chance on another chance, because I believe her tag team partner had the other opportunity before, so congrats to them to at least get some TV time. And Natalya, hey, sometimes life is a butch.
Actually, and you know what? Besides that, Natalya, honey, sweetie, darling, you're a veteran of this business. Why the fuck would you touch the title before that match? She walked over to the title and like touched it and caressed
I missed
it.
that. No wonder. Yeah,
girl, that is bad luck. Why would
that's
you
bad
do
juju?
That?
That's karma. Yeah, you're right.
Fucking idiot! Like, you're supposed to be a veteran of the business, and you're just gonna walk over to the title and be like, "Duh, Intercontinental title, I'm winning it." No, you're not. Not anymore. Now you're eliminated, and you're the one that got the pin. You're the one that ate the pin. Like, come on, girl, come on. Oh, my
I didn't even realize that she ate the pin. I thought it was Alba Fire. Damn.
That was
Natalya, it doesn't even add more value or stock to you. Hey, but hey, cool double shooting star.
Yeah, it was a cool moonsault that happened. But you know what's not cool? You know what's not cool?
Miz and Dexter Lumis.
Miz and Dexter Lumis. First of all, finally again having a match after all the bullshit that happened with them prior. But this match also ended in a DQ because hey, here comes AOP and Karrion Kross to beat down. Oh wait, here come the Wyatts to even the odds. Wyatt standing tall. The end. There's your story for tonight.
That's literally what happened. The only comment I have against this segment before we move on is literally Karrion Kross looks like John Wick. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna even say anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, we're sorry we don't like this was the rehash. Like it was cool to see Dexter Lumis. Like it looked cool, but not much of a match happened. And every time I saw Karrion Kross, he reminds me of John Wick. Like literally almost like a copy and paste of John Wick. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course the New Day continued to be shunned by everybody, even Kofi's mom. I guess we're leading into a match with Rey Mysterio because he tried to apologize to them, but also tried to get them to apologize to him. So we're definitely doing a slow burn when it comes to the New Day, and I'm wondering if part of this is because they don't have entrance music yet, because they can't really be coming in with their "It's a new day." Yes, it is. Like, I was coming in with that.
I just figured that out literally before we started the show because I was like, "Wait a minute, they keep coming in with no music. Is it because they can't use their music because it's too positive?"
I feel like it's better if they don't. Honestly,
that too. I hope if they don't have no new music, still come out with no music. I agree that if there's no launch of a new song for them, just come out with literally just start speaking and just let the people boo you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Don't even use music. Period. Have it be a Tommaso Ciampa situation when he was in NXT.
That would be nice.
He just came out in a rain of boos.
I agree that,
and that's the sort of vibe that they currently have right now. So you might as well just go with the flow with that. Don't even make any new music for them. It just fits a lot better.
Look, the one thing I asked, and I'm a bit confused because you said, Watkins, that we're leading a match to Xavier or with Kofi for Ray. But the one thing is, the way Ray said that, hey, whatever happens next is on you guys. I try my best. So I wonder if that's also leading into something that, like, of a tag team match, or if we're going to have something in January 6th.
I mean, well, yes, the Penta thing. I see that.
Yeah, same. Thing. I was trying to lead into that. I appreciate for Drop knowing what I was trying to reference and like, hey, maybe could this be it? But my thing is that I hope if we have a Penta and Raven Mr. tag match, hopefully it's a one-time thing. Because, motherfucker, please, for the name of God, I'm a Latino, Hispanic person here, and I want, please, Penta, do not connection yourself with LWO. That's the one thing I've seen the reports, but still I hope it's something that doesn't happen because that's something I have no interest in.
I'll just tell you guys straight up, like he's not gonna be involved in LWO. It's just gonna be one of those things where Penta's just gonna be Penta, and one of the things that
I hope so
he was known to do in AEW when it came to one of his signature moves, which is sacrifice. And that's pretty much a he pretty much breaks. He's known to break arms.
Yeah.
So if you ever look up any clips of like Penta and his matches, like he had one with Cody before, he pretty much just like puts you in the position, and then he just pulls the arm back, and he would honestly probably get over pretty well if he did that to New Day.
Oh yeah, and
that would be quick and good.
The fact that as characters, New Day, like you have dirty ass Dom Mysterio even saying, "Yeah, you guys were out of pocket there." Like you even have him being like, "Nah, fuck you guys."
Yeah, he said, I didn't like Big E back then, but what you guys did was out of pocket. I was like, damn, even Dom don't agree with you? It shows that, like, did something nobody expected, so it's pretty interesting. And what sucks is that this segment was more highlight to show the mom of Kofi didn't agree eye to eye with this. But the one thing, Chad, I'm sorry to say this, as the optimistic Vash that's usually on the show, that segment felt flat to me. I didn't even care for it. I saw it, but it didn't feel like a Cody and Cody's mom segment where you would feel the remorse, the anger that she had towards Brock Lesnar or towards The Rock or towards these type of things that happened with Cody involving her in his stories. When it comes to Kofi's mom, I don't know if she has been on the TV before during Kofi Mania or during those other stuff. I don't know if she has, but for this segment alone, it felt very out the window. It felt very flat on my end that I didn't really care for it. It just felt like the mom just was disappointed in her son and her son best friend. Like, hey, yeah, I did something I didn't expect. I'm very disappointed in you, and move on.
Yeah,
That's
honestly, her involvement would have been better if it was last week.
Yeah.
I think it would have hit a little harder.
Yeah.
Not on the pre-show, on the pre-taped segment, but whatever. But you know what, everybody? I mean, Raw was Raw, and I mean, we're in this time where we're supposed to be gleeful and joyful and happy and all that stuff. Because hey, it's the holiday season. You're supposed to be happy and cheerful and all that stuff. But it's like, man, when you get media like this, it's just. You question why you kind of like watch some things, but like you at least there's at least a shining horizon at the end of this tunnel,
I have a question to you guys. Would you guys have rather watched this show? Because it seems like this Christmas, this year, we're not getting a best of Raw or SmackDown that we have gotten in the recent years. So would you guys have rather have gotten this episode of the Monday Night Raw on November, what is wrong with my months? December 23rd. Would you guys have rather gotten this episode, or would you guys have gotten a best of 2024 of Raw or SmackDown that you do sometimes?
I mean, I don't think it would work this year because they're building up to the Netflix premiere. Otherwise, I mean, probably because then we would have the night off.
That is true.
Because we're not gonna sit in here for like an hour or two talking about recap. I mean, just go watch the rest of our shows if you want to hear our thoughts.
If we did, we would have done like our version of like here's our best of version of 224, which we still are planning to do some version of that. Yeah.
Like during the show, it would have been like at 8:00. Like, hey, y'all want to watch Raw? Nah, fuck that. Listen to us bitch and moan about 2024. So I mean, and that's the thing. I know there was a lot of complaining tonight about things, but it's just like on this show we are gonna tell our truth. We're gonna tell it how it is and how we feel and all that. And whether we're right or wrong, whatever. It's how we feel in the moment. And sometimes you just kind of need to get things out, and that way you're able to process everything. I don't know if y'all want to have anything else to add for Raw overall.
I said
my last thoughts about Raw is that I wish it was slightly better and not felt so poorly taped. And if that's the case, please, Raw on Netflix. I'm having not high expectation. I'm having expectation in production value for somebody who works in production. I'm curious to see what would it be different as, because I was there in the era of the WWE Network and how they first started, and I really like what they did in their version. I was one of the first members. I paid for my membership, and I like them showing the behind the scenes more, even during the commercial break and other people. I like what they did here, so hopefully we get something of that version in Raw Netflix. That's my honest thoughts about that.
Word. Well, hey everybody, that was the show. I know a bit of a shorter one this week, but that's been the nature for these tape
Honestly,
shows.
it feels good, to be honest.
Like this whole year.
It was good.
It kind of does,
It kind of feels good to prepare us for next year when we're going to be starting at like 11:30 p.m. from now on. For the next not 365 days. For the next 52 weeks of the year. From now on going forward, we're starting at 11:30 p.m., guys. By the way, we should tell you that starting on January 3rd and January 6th, moving forward, we're starting at 11:30 p.m.
And me. And,
by the way,
my Monday nights.
by the way, quick plugs. Go check out our Anime Week 3 studio. We are known for animation, manga, wrestling, webtoons, and for entertainment and bringing the positive representation of the Weebs culture into our content and media that we consume and represent for. As one of our spin-off channel is Weebs of the Ring, and our flagship show is covering Raw and SmackDown. So we appreciate you guys checking out, as always, every Mondays and Fridays after the show to give you our coverage. And you can always use the hashtag of Weebs of the Ring, or check out the handle on TikTok, IG, Blue Sky, Twitter of Weebs of the Ring, and check out our personal handles of Legendary Vash, Drop This Box, Anime Week 3 Studio, the name of the company, and Walker's MW, and check out their personal channels where Drop has been dropping Christmas themes of this month, going back to his normal, and Walker's will be dropping off a beautiful wrestling
Invincible Fight Girl tomorrow, 10 a.m. Invincible Fight Girl. You need to watch it, and I'm going to tell you why you need to watch it.
Exactly, perfect time for that transition. He gave it to me, and he said it for his own marketing. Other than that, guys, we appreciate you for checking the plug section of this show. I'm gonna give it back to my host.
Oh, boys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, thank you once again for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what Vash just told you to do? We are known as Weebs of the Ring on all social media platforms, and also be sure to use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring so we can check out what you guys have to say before, during, or after these shows, because, hey, we also appreciate feedback, because we can only get better if you guys let us know how we can get better. But Weebs of the Ring is presented by Animal Weed Studio. Thanks, as always, to our production team for all of their hard work throughout the years, throughout the weeks, throughout the months, and all that minutes and all that stuff. And thank you once again for joining us. And remember, as always, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. And whether or not you celebrate a holiday that is coming up soon, I hope you are able to enjoy it with the people that you care about. Have a good night, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone, and we'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown.
Yes, we're back Friday.
Smack diggity diggity diggity.